Tech Tales 35, today, May 21st on a Friday morning, 8:11 a.m. Oh, and you know what? My phone's probably going to make noises because I got all kinds of alarms, so I'm just going to turn that off. So I'm looking at a time slip from May 6 on a Thursday, and this is for one of the apartment buildings, the one that begins with the letter M. 7:10 a.m. to 7:41 p.m. Nope, 7:10 p.m. to 7:41 p.m. 31 minutes for D. And you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and try something. I was thinking, what if I'd use phonetics for instead of the letters? So this would be Delta. Person has their name that begins with D. I'll call that person Delta. See how this works out. Maybe you let me know in the comments if this works out as I go through this Tech Tales. Connected remote to newly reassigned computer. Removed prior Microsoft 365 license credentials for Bravo and Charlie. Assigned Microsoft 365 standard license to Charlie's account. And applied the license to the computer. Configured email account. Activated OneDrive. Disabled Windows notifications. And then next phase of the time slip, Juliet, unable to connect to computer due to offline. Created Microsoft 365 account, assigned Microsoft 365 standard license, and initialized email account on the server. So let's see, I did Juliet, Charlie, Bravo, and Delta. Okay, and it's the apartment building Mike. Some of the phonetic words for the alphabet sound like people's names. So anyway, see how it goes. So taking the first part of that, connected remote to newly reassigned computer. So what happens, a staff person moved from one desk to another desk. Some of my offices, when they move from one desk to another desk, they take their old computer with them. This person was moving from one job description to a different job description. It made more sense for this person to be reassigned to the new computer, particularly since the new person coming in at the original desk, which is the reception desk for the building, it didn't already have a computer, of course. So if I know how an office is going to transition people through the office, then I can change the way we configure their computers as far as how the computers log in. Now, in this office, we use generic logins, meaning the login that's at that reception desk is still going to be the same login with the new person. But since we're now using Microsoft 365 credentials for the license for Microsoft Office and for email, that's why I'll change the license on a particular computer for a different person. Of course, when I started with this office, we didn't have Microsoft 365. As a matter of fact, these people didn't even have their own email address. So with the evolution of computers and the way that we use them, sometimes I've got an office set up in a way that is not convenient for the way they transition people through the office. And you just deal with it. There have been times when I talk with the manager of the office as we're going through, maybe they want to upgrade their computers over the next year or two, and I say, you know what, this is a good time for us to change the way we do things so that it fits better with the reality of how today's computers and software work. So I connected remote to the newly reassigned computer for her, remove the prior Microsoft 365 credentials, which it had credentials for Bravo and for Charlie, who were previously using that computer. And now Delta is going to be using this. Oh boy, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, B, C, and D right together. All right, well, that's funny. So Bravo is no longer with the company. Charlie is still with the organization, the 3 different facilities, but she's at a different facility now. So she's not going to be using that computer. So I removed their credentials from that computer completely. Then assigned the Microsoft 365 standard license for, ooh, I did that wrong. I said for Charlie's account and applied the license to the computer. I typed, that's wrong, because it would be for Delta's account that I applied the license. Yeah, I wrote that wrong. Now here's the thing about how QuickBooks Online works is if I edit this time slip now, then this time slip will show up on the invoice after any other time slips that occur on the same day. Well, as I'm looking at this now, there were no other time slips that occur on the same day, so I'm safe to edit this time slip. But another side effect is when I go to put in my next time slip today, if I go look at my prior time slips, this one that I'm editing now is going to show as the most recent time slip, even though it actually occurred a couple weeks ago. It's a piece of how QuickBooks Online works that I just don't like. So standard license to, let's see, assign Microsoft 365 standard license to Delta's. Assign Microsoft 365 standard license to Delta's account. Oh, okay, I know what I mean there. I almost typed the word Delta. So I actually had to go into the account manager for their Microsoft 365 account for their company and find the user named Delta and change that user's license from a basic license to a standard license. Because at the previous computer for her, which was at the reception desk, she had the basic license, which is email only. And that's because that computer was still using Microsoft Office 2010. So I still allow Microsoft Office 2010 on a computer until we need to upgrade it or change it. Sometimes we'll go ahead and move them up for actually the reception computer that has that, in a subsequent time slip, I'm going to talk about why I yesterday removed Microsoft Office 2010 and replaced it with Microsoft 365 because we had a problem and that was my solution to it. That'll come in a later time slip. Boy, I'm taking a long time on this time slip. Okay, so assigned the standard license to Delta's account and applied the license to this computer. Configured the email account, which basically means launch Outlook and put in the email address and the password, and then it does all the configuration. It's easy to do with Microsoft 365. I like it a lot. Activated OneDrive. So in all three of these apartment building complexes, we've been, as we apply Microsoft 365 to these computers, we've been engaging OneDrive to back up the My Documents folder and the Pictures folder and the desktop. They don't specifically use OneDrive themselves. I mean, they don't consciously do it. I turn it on so it backs up those, and that gives us a form of backup for these computers that we didn't have under Office 2010. And the local drives of those computers were not backed up. The data wasn't considered important enough to do that. Their main operational data is cloud-based. So now we've got a little better protection in a very easy way. It's very easy to engage OneDrive to do that backup as opposed to implementing some other form of backup software on each computer. It just didn't justify that level of work for each computer. So then disabled Windows notifications. Okay, then that was all for Delta. Now for Juliet, which Juliet is the new reception person. Unable, and remember name is not Juliet. I'm using phonetic alphabet. Her name begins with a J. Unable to connect to computer due to offline. I think this was the second time, or maybe the second time is coming another time, when I asked her, leave your computer on so I can work on it. And she didn't. So I created her Microsoft 365 account. I know she just had her first day in the office. That's why I was creating the account in the evening. So that's in the admin panel for their Microsoft 365 Business Edition. Creating the account, assigned the Microsoft 365 standard license to her account, and initialized the email account on the server. That's kind of makes it sound like more work than it is. It's really not very complicated at all. So all of that I just read to you was a total of 31 minutes. And yeah, I'm at 11 minutes, so I think that's all she wrote for this one. Then a subsequent time slip is going to tell about installing that on the reception computer. So I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.